this emotional recounting, a husband faces the devastating confession from his wife about a secret she kept for a year, leading to feelings of betrayal and confusion over the impact on their family dynamics.
My wife kept a very big secret from me for a year. So recently my wife, who is 26 years old, confessed something to me, a 30-year-old man, which broke my heart big time. A year ago, we were living with my nephew because the school he was attending was near our place. He came in and stayed with us for about 3 months, and at that time, my wife was pregnant. He was a good boy, well-behaved and minding his own business. Surprisingly, my wife did not like his company. She did not like seeing him around. There was an incident that happened. Normally, I put some stash of cash at home, maybe when I come back with money from my business. I placed it around because I was sure everything was safe. So one day, something happened, and I lost a certain amount of money. When I asked about it, my wife pinned it on my nephew, which was abnormal because I had never heard of him doing anything like that. My wife convinced me that it was my nephew who took the money. She said he was in college and might need some cash to do his own things because he was pretty young. I asked him if he took anything, but he said he did not take anything. According to the trust issues that were there, I had to get my nephew out of the house and take him back home so that we could figure out some way of solving the issue. Finally, I decided to move on and just gave my nephew the benefit of the doubt. I paid for his hostel so he could live on his own, and my wife was happy. So, recently, after a year, my wife finally confesses to me that she took the money and hid it, and it was not my nephew. She just wanted him out of our house. I was so surprised, but she blamed it on the pregnancy. She said it was just messing around, that it wasn't a big deal, and that's why she did whatever she did. It really hit me hard because I stopped trusting my nephew, which was wrong of me. At this point, I don't know who to blame. I don't know whether I should blame myself or blame my wife because she said it was the pregnancy. She said that because she was pregnant, she made such a decision out of her moods at the moment. It makes me feel a lot of pain for whatever I did at that time and pushed my nephew out. I thought that the best way to release this pain is to just say it out so that I can have peace before I take any step.
In this heartfelt reflection, a member of a Dungeons & Dragons group grapples with the fallout of their decision to dismiss a new dungeon master, Willow, after only one session. The storyteller wrestles with guilt and disappointment over the impact of their actions on Willow's passion for the game. I think my former DM quit playing and DMing D&D after my group told her she wasn't good enough. I'm part of a group of 5 friends that love Dungeons & Dragons. We all played for a nightmare of a DM, but we liked playing together. We recently held auditions for a new DM and had a few duds before coming across a new DM. I'll call her Willow. Willow had a lot of green flags. She was willing to listen and had a lot of homebrew material. She spent over 18 hours writing a one-shot for us to try, so we could test if we liked her style. After that, we happily asked her to be our DM. She spent over 2 days of her own time designing a world, building characters with us, and answering our questions. We played session 1, and everybody had a lot of fun, except one player. I'll call him Jason. Jason has really high expectations. He has played for some DMs who have actual play games, professional D&D, so he has really high standards. Most of the group really liked Willow, and as we gathered for a meeting before our second session, Jason voiced that he didn't want her to DM for us anymore. He said she wasn't polished enough, that her world had plot holes, and that he didn't like how she played NPCs. And because we play together and are unwilling to split apart the group, we dropped Willow 15 minutes before session 2. She had a really angry reaction, but it was kind of appropriate. I understand why she felt betrayed. It has been about 6 months since we dropped her. We have yet to find a DM that meets Jason's expectations. When I messaged Willow yesterday, she told me she has sold her books and dice and given up on ever DMing or playing ever again. She seems okay with her decision, but I also know D&D was her whole life, and she loved it so much. She also told me she was going to block everybody she had ever played D&D with because she was cutting it out completely from her life. Before she blocked me, she told me Jason had PM'd her and told her she wasn't good enough for our table and she should probably stick to writing books. She even sent a screenshot. I feel awful. I feel like we chased away a very talented DM from the hobby because she wasn't as good as an actual play DM. I feel disappointed in myself. I feel hurt. And I feel angry that we ruined the experience of a person who put so much effort and energy into writing a story for us. I feel sick. In this candid rant, a woman expresses her frustration with her family's dynamic, particularly how her mother sympathizes with her wealthy brothers while she feels overlooked and burned out after years of hard work in the family business.
My mother constantly feels bad for my millionaire brothers, and I hate it. I'm just going to rant for a minute. I grew up in the family restaurant biz. 30 years of my life was spent working there. I didn't realize it until it was too late, but because I'm a girl, I wasn't part owner. Anyway, after getting screwed over for all that time, I was getting paid $25,000 a year while my brothers made over 6 figures plus had insurance. I finally quit. I was an idiot, I guess. I just never thought my family would do that to me. Anyways, I'm working at an outside job now for $55,000 a year, which I might be downsized. I'm scared. I talked with my mom the other day that I'm worried about my job. After a couple of minutes of her giving me stupid nonsense advice, she started telling me how badly she feels for my brothers. They just sold a commercial building for $5.5 million. But gosh darn, they'd have to pay $600,000 in capital gains. So the poor guys had to buy a $2.7 million investment property. And shucks, that investment property needs to be gutted. They're so stressed. I said, well, they could have bought an $800,000 property instead. She poo-poos me with the swat of the hand. Oh, they had no choice. She continues to say how tired they are and they're burnt out. I literally had the same fucking upbringing and I'm burned out too. You made us work at 12 years old, every fucking day. But here I am, burned out making $55,000 a year, and I won't be able to fucking retire until I'm 80, and they have millions in the bank. She thinks I'm ridiculous and greedy. Family fucking sucks. You can do everything right and you'll still get fucked. Rant over. Thank you for listening.
In this humorous yet cringeworthy moment, an embarrassing comment made during a family brunch, which leaves him hiding in the bathroom while contemplating the fallout of his blunder.
I accidentally insulted my mother-in-law. So this happened literally a couple of hours ago, and I'm still hiding in the bathroom, trying to figure out if I should just live here forever. It was brunch at my in-laws' place. You know, the casual kind, where everyone's still in their pajamas and drinking coffee like it's a life-saving elixir. My wife and I were enjoying the spread when things took a nosedive into the worst possible timeline. Now, for context, my mother-in-law, Linda, is a force of nature. She runs her household with the precision of a military general. If you're looking for someone who can single-handedly control the chaos of 4 grown children and a bunch of grandkids, she's the woman for the job. I've always admired her for it, and I thought I'd compliment her on her take-charge personality. So, my father-in-law was joking about how Linda keeps everyone in line, and I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to chime in. My brain was aiming for something like, yeah, Linda's the matriarch around here. But no, my mouth apparently had other plans, because what I actually said was, yeah, Linda's like a dominatrix. The air left the room. I mean, whoosh, gone. My wife dropped her fork, my father-in-law nearly spat out his coffee, and Linda just gave me a look like I had personally insulted her entire bloodline. I immediately realized what I'd said and tried to backtrack, but instead of just shutting the hell up, I went full-on word vomit. I meant matriarch. You know, like you're in charge, strong. But not, that kind of in charge. I mean, not like you wear leather, unless, wait. At this point, my wife buried her face in her hands, and my father-in-law was trying his hardest not to laugh, but you could see the corners of his mouth twitching. Linda? Well, she stared me down with a mix of horror and confusion, which didn't help my spiraling embarrassment. We somehow managed to finish the meal, but let's just say there was no small talk after that. Linda barely acknowledged my existence. My wife hasn't stopped laughing, and I've been Googling how to accidentally miss all future family brunches.